We'll do it live. Keep doing what you're doing, man. It's awesome.
Hey guys, it's Alex. Today I wanted to run a little test. I had a customer last week. Actually, this happens very often. Every time somebody buys a low temperature thermostat on their late model Mustang, depending on the generation, they request a tune. And a lot of the tunes that we send out automatically kick the fans on a little sooner. And depending on the customer, specifically like in the UK, they hate that. They hate when the fan comes on early and it's the high speed fan. They think the fan is gonna like wear out or something. And I'm like, okay. So they're like, oi, could you please do me a favor and reload the fan settings? I'm like, oh, why? They're like, well, you know, it kicks on too early. And I'm like, okay, well, we do that so that you can have lower cylinder head temperatures so that the car performs better. And they're like, well, I don't think that's necessary. Then on the flip side, you have guys from like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait. They're like, Alex, I put in new thermostat, fan on instant. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I want the fan on instantly. So I start wondering, right? I go, do people not drive their cars? Do people not drive their car through Earth? Do they just idle their cars? Do they not drive their cars? Because, bear with me here. When you buy a lower temperature thermostat on a car, it just opens sooner. That's it. So, in my opinion, the fans should not come on that much sooner. Because if you are driving your vehicle, the Earth is your fan. So as this vehicle is driving through Gaia, you would think it's getting so much airflow in the radiator that the fan settings generally, yeah, they matter a little bit, but they generally don't matter, right? Well, this car has a 180 degree thermostat. Engine coolant temp isn't a thing on these cars. It's inferred. It's cylinder head temperature. So cylinder head temperature, then they infer, well, what's the coolant temp based on the cylinder head temp, blah, blah, blah. So I don't think you need like a crazy fan setting if it's already, let's say, 180. Like, let's say I have a 180 setting on the fans and you buy a 160 thermostat. Well, I don't need the fans to come on at 160, but this is also the problem. People go, well, the high-speed fan comes on too early, blah, blah, blah. You know what I do half of the time? I just reload the stock stuff. And they're like, oh, it's perfect. And I'm like, it's stock stuff. So thanks for letting me rant about fan settings. Like if you have a tune and the fans are already set to come on a little sooner, they don't need to come down another 20 degrees so that you have like, especially if you're somewhere super hot, like if it's ambient 100 all the time, turning on the fan a little sooner is not going to make that big of a difference, especially if you have a lower temp thermostat. If it is 120 outside and your cylinder head temperatures are 210, with a 180 thermostat, maybe they'll go down to 205. But just because I've kicked the fan on sooner, like instantly, it's so hot out there, whatever. But if you're not driving your vehicle, if you're just idling your vehicle, yeah, the fan is doing all of the heavy lifting. But if you're actually driving your vehicle, the Earth is pushing air into the... Don't get me started. So that led me to another conclusion. I said, you know what? This car has a heat exchanger. And I've always wondered if the fans on the heat exchanger do anything. Because when you think about it, they're in front of the radiator or the heat exchanger, and it's actually a bit of a restriction in terms of airflow. And actually, the guy from Department of Boost clued me into that thought process. Said, how come your heat exchanger doesn't have fans? He goes, it's just a restriction. And I'm like, you're not wrong. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to turn the car on, and I'm going to unplug these two guys. The fans will be off. I'm going to show what the blower temperatures are. Once it's up to temperature, let's say it's up to 180 degree coolant temp. Okay. And that means everything is cycled and it's doing what it does. We'll see what IATs are, because IATs are reading blower temperature on this car. And we'll see with the fan off what they get up to. Then I'm just going to kick the fans on and see if they go down. Right? Because at speed, those fans ain't doing shit. At speed, believe it or not, these fans probably restrict the airflow of the heat exchanger, because it's just an obstruction there. So when you're driving, you have that, whatever footprint the fan is taking up, you have that less area to be able to flow air through it. So let's do that. Let's get the car outside, turn it on, let it get up to temperature, fans off. Then turn the fans on, see if the temperature goes down at all. Sounds like we have a squeaky pulley somewhere. And make sure. Alright, not super worried about it. And okay, so I took these off. These actually run the fans. We're going to shut the hood, let it idle for a while, let it get up to temperature. We'll see what the temperature is. Then we'll kick the fans back on. We'll see if the temperature goes down. Sounds like a bearing. Car looks good though. It sounds like a bearing is being weird, so I'll have to look into that. So remember, the temperature inlet air is not at the cold air, it's at the blower. This has a breakout harness that piggybacks the MAF signal to the blower, and it interpolates or reads the blower temperature as inlet air temperature. So we're going to be idling for a little while, so I'll come back once it's, 120, 125. It's 75 out today. It's really nice. It's beautiful today, so it's not going to get that hot. For those of you that aren't aware, this thing is running a badass... Look, the water's clear. Fuck you guys. You guys made fun of me. Finally figured out the whole situation. Ended up being wiring. Believe it or not, wiring was the issue. Crazy. Okay, let's see if it gets warm. Alright, it's been 15 minutes and it keeps climbing. It just perpetual climb. So it's 75 degrees outside right now. 111 IAT. So again, we're parked. So I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall. Wow, listen to this. Oh, I think that was a Camaro because it sounded like a spark cut in between the shifts. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall the fuses right up here, and we're gonna kick the fans on, and we'll see if it makes any difference and that temperature starts to come down. See if you can hear the fans kick on. I don't think you can, but oh, you hear the engine lug down. There you go. There we go. Now the fans are going. Oh yeah. Oh, they're moving a lot of air. We'll see if the temperature starts to come down. Right? Okay. Remember, 111. We'll wait a little bit and see what happens. It's not looking good, but I'm gonna give it a long time. A lot of you guys are probably screaming, this is not scientific. I'm like, no, but what I'm trying to vet is if the fans do anything at all. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, of course they do something. It's moving air across, I'm like, okay, but to what effect? If the airflow going through the heat exchanger is not enough to measurably lower IAT in terms of recovery, because let's be honest, when you are driving through the earth, the fans aren't really doing much, right? Like, I could take this car right now and go for a cruise at 45 miles an hour and IATs will drop. I guarantee IATs will drop. I might just do that just to show you. Fans on or off. So I wanted to just have a control test to say, okay, idle, no fans, all the way up to operating temperature. So no air is coming across the heat exchanger. Cool. Now let's introduce some air across the heat exchanger, and it's not going down. So then that begs the question, and again guys, I'm not selling a product, I'm not trying to talk shit, I'm trying to show you guys certain theories that I've had that I want to just show you in a non-scientific way, you know, a test to see if it does anything at all. And I know a lot of you guys look at the oil pressure, says low, the oil pressure sender is not hooked up, so it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna wait 5 to 10 more minutes, and if that temperature does not get under 110, you can draw your own conclusions from what this test proved. Okay, obviously it's not dropping. It went from 111 to 120. Maybe it just took that long to get there anyway, but I did not see that temperature slow down. I did not see it drop. It just steadily went up. Now, what does that prove? Probably nothing, just that the fans are not really affecting anything. Remember, fluid is running through that radiator, aka heat exchanger. It's running through it, and it's radiating the heat away from it to the earth. And the fans are supposedly there to help with that, you know, cool airflow going across it to just get rid of, you know, some of that heat, but it's not doing anything. But guess what? If I introduce cold air from the earth somewhere else, meaning I'm gonna rev it up, and it's gonna suck in colder air, which again, the cold air is gonna introduce a more volume of ambient air, which is 70 degrees, to the engine, and watch that temperature drop. And then when I let off, it's gonna go up to like 122. It's almost like I know what the fuck I'm talking about, right? So one final test. I'm gonna take 2 outside fans and put them in the front of the car to see if more airflow will affect this reading at all. Now, we'll see if that changes. Remember, it was 120. I have not turned off the car. We'll see if the temperature drops at all. Actually got up to 124, so let's see if introducing some outside air does anything. Actually, let me disconnect the fans so they're not being restricted by, you know, so the fans aren't restricting this airflow. All right, we'll see. Give it some time. Shut the hood. Again, you know, you could take this stupid little test for what it's worth, but I put on 2 fans that are like pushing out a decent amount of air from the outside of the car, and it's not going down. So I don't know, if someone tells you, hey, you need a fanned heat exchanger, do you know? Yeah, been out there for 15 minutes. These 2 big ass fans blowing air in there and not changing the reading at all. Alex, it's not a proper test. Cool. I don't know. I'm bored. Okay, now let's go for a spin. Let's see how inlet air is affected by the earth moving air through the front of the car. Then stationary. So what's the selling point of fans? Like ask yourself, what is the selling point of fans? Again, I'm not saying they're not necessary or they're not good to have or whatever, but like, what's the biggest selling point of these fans? They'll tell you recovery, they'll tell you all this stuff, and I'm telling you, like, when I was hearing that, I'm like, I don't know that that's true. You know, I think more capacity, more radiating capacity, meaning a bigger heat exchanger, like a larger footprint heat exchanger, is probably more beneficial than, you know, fans on a small heat exchanger. So guys, take this test for what it's worth. If you're buying a heat exchanger, if you're lowering the thermostat, you know, whatever, temperature for opening or whatever, understand how outside factors affect your temperatures. And specifically when it comes to inlet air temperatures on a blower car, it got up to 111, and I turned on the fans and it didn't slow down, and then I put outside fans and it didn't do anything. So I'm just like, what are the fans actually doing, and where are they getting that data to show you? It definitely helps with recovery time. It definitely helps with this and that. And in my opinion, I just think a bigger footprint radiator or heat exchanger is more beneficial than a smaller one with very high powered fans. So I've always thought this was an issue. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to remove those fans, because based on what I've seen, tested, and I've owned this vehicle for over 4 years, actually 5 years at this point, I have seen no major difference in what the heat exchanger with fans are doing than without the fans. And if anything, I should upgrade the heat exchanger if this car is going to be a street car going forward, to a bigger one, as opposed to that one with some fans. Triple pass, quadruple pass, whatever pass. Yes, this is better than the factory unit, but it's not. Fan or no fan, I don't think it makes a measurable difference for the price. But if you think I made this test incorrectly, cool, it's not scientific. But if you have suggestions as to how to test whether fans or no fans are making a difference, let me know in the comments and I'll run that test and we'll see if anything comes of it. Thanks for listening, guys. Talk to you later.